Steve Scalise is with us now. Steve, how are you?
Glenn, doing great, Glenn. How are you?
I'm really good.
Time. It's good to talk with you.
I know. Listen, I just wanted to ask you, because what I'm seeing from Donald Trump, and now especially that he's going back to the same place where the shooting happened this summer, you are the one guy that can relate to being shot for your views, for who you are, and then walking back in crowds again. What does that feel like? How long did that take for you to not have that natural reaction of is there somebody? Am I safe? Am I safe? Or did you ever have that?
Yeah, Glenn, and I was in the hospital for 3.5 months, so you have a lot of time to focus on what are you going to do, kind of how are you going to approach this kind of new attitude where you've been through something like that, and of course those 3.5 months I was fighting for my life. So but part of that was I made an early decision because I really needed to put all my focus into getting better. I had to learn how to walk again, had to learn, was I even going to be able to do things like that, go back to work. And so, once I got that mindset, I said, you know what, I'm not looking back, like literally rip off the rearview mirror. I'm not going to worry about what got me here. God spared me. Like I knew I was given a second chance. And believe me, I've talked to President Trump about this since Butler. And, and we, talked about because he came to the hospital the day of the shooting, it was his birthday, but he and Melania came, really consoled my family at that lowest moment. But
wow.
I just made a decision. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to focus on why, he did it, why I got here. I've got to put all my energy into getting better or else I won't get better. And once I did that, it really just kind of changed my outlook and my focus. I went back to the ball field when I got out of the hospital because I wanted to do that. I wanted to confront that and go kind of like, I'm not going to live in fear and just, we did that. And it was therapeutic, it was emotional, but it was therapeutic. And then just, I got on with my life and I said, God, and believe me, I have a deep faith, but I put my faith in God and he took care of me that day. There were miracles performed, but you kind of at some point have to say it's in his hands. He knows what's going to happen next more than we do. He gives us the tools, but he also gives us the freedom to go fail, to go succeed, to do whatever we want to do. But he also looks out for us. And at some point you have to just have that faith that God's got the bigger plan. You've got to control your day to day by, what are you going to focus your energy on today? Are you going to be positive or negative? And I choose to be positive.
Do you, in watching Donald Trump, I mean, he went down on the ground. I mean, he would have moved his head just slightly differently and he would be dead today. It would have been the worst live television broadcast of all time. But he moved his head that way. I think that was God interacting there.
It was divine intervention.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And look, he knows that too, Glenn. That was part of, the conversation we had is he's like, Steve, I know I shouldn't be here. And I think that recognition where you recognize life's bigger than yourself. Somebody else does have a hand in all of this. And you've just got to let some of that go and realize you can do everything right and get hit by a truck one day. Like you don't know what's going to happen. So just go live your life, do the best you can every day. I mean, here's a man, Donald Trump, who's put himself up for persecution by so many different people who have gone after him. And yet, figuratively, literally, legally, all of that. And yet he still moves forward. He still knows I have to do this for the country. And he believes that. And believe me, the country believes that too. Because, when you go to a Trump rally, you go to, any part of the country and people know we are at a very volatile time right now and a fragile time for the country. Which direction are we going to take as a nation? I mean, these are bigger questions than any individual, but Donald Trump represents that, do we want to get back to what our country was really founded on? Free market principles, you control your destiny. Government is there to do the basics, not to control your life, not to tell you what you can and can't do. This is going to decide all of that on November 5th. And he knows he's the only one right now who can really turn this around. And I believe that. I think most people do. And so he recognizes, there's people that want to stop him. I mean, we've seen it twice now directly, and it's scary, but You just gotta, you can't let fear drive your life.
I tell you, my favorite line from him was, "Come on, guys, let me play through." After,
He's like, I was two under par. I was having a great day.
That is crazy.
That's who he is,
He's crazy.
But look, you have to have that mindset.
Yeah.
If you live in fear, just go lock yourself in a room and go in the fetal position, and you'll be neutered. He's not going to be neutered. He's not going to live in fear. And, you got to put your trust in other people. Obviously, Secret Service is one of those groups, and that's why we're fighting so hard to get reforms at the Secret Service, because they have a mission, one single mission, not diversity or wokeness. It's to protect presidents, former presidents, vice president, and they were failing at that. And we are pushing hard to get them to refocus, to increase the security. And we finally got that addressed to increase the level of security President Trump has, because they were not giving him that opportunity, and that led to some of these problems. But, at the end of the day, you just got to say, I'm still going to go to the rallies. This is who I am, and that's who he is.
The majority of Americans think that there will be another assassination attempt before the election, which is really a sad commentary.
Yeah.
Do you believe that this really was simply just a series of unbelievable mistakes, or is there any room for maybe some of these decisions were conscious? I'm not saying that they set it up, but just let it slide a little bit.
Look, I'm not a big believer in coincidences. You live long enough, you see things that not everything adds up, but if you connect the dots, you realize, okay, wait, there's something else going on here. I really do think that, when you look, there are people who, and this is why I'm really, really vocal about the language. When Kamala is saying, not just, hey, I don't like his tax plan, I don't like this or that. He's a threat to democracy. He's like Hitler. He's this or that. That's telling people. And there are unhinged people out there, unfortunately, and they hear that as like a call to action. And that's what was going on. I mean, the second attempted assassin flat out used her exact language about threat to democracy in his mission to go try to kill the president, and so they've got to stop doing this. It's not, hey, we all need to dial it down. No, there's one side that's saying very specific things that's being taken as literally calls to action to go try to assassinate the president. That's what they have to stop, because, whether it's truly coordinated in a broad scale or not, it doesn't matter. If somebody's taking what you're saying as, okay, I need to go take action in my own hands and try to kill somebody, you've got to stop saying that. At some point, you got to look in the mirror and go, my words are causing somebody else to want to kill somebody. Yeah. And if you think, oh, I can just say whatever I want, there's free speech, and then there's, yelling fire in the theater. I mean, there's a line. And now you've seen where they've crossed it, and they've seen it. They need to stop doing it.
So I had a brush, not nearly like yours or Donald Trump's, but a brush similar to the one that he had on the golf course. And I know that freaked me out. Immediately I thought, what am I willing to die for? What? It changed my language. It changed. I was not going to die for things I didn't absolutely believe. Did that go through you as well?
It was more a shift in focus. Like, what is really important in life? What are you doing all of this for? We all know, especially you get into politics, you run campaigns and you say, I'm going to fight for this or that. I mean, I have strong beliefs. I go to Washington and you find out quickly, not everybody believes in everything exactly like you do. So you need to then start putting coalitions together, finding people that maybe believe in 80% of what you believe in, because you're not going to get it done on your own. Yet you still want to advance your cause. And I still want to advance the things I believe in, but I also know what was most important, and that's my family. I wanted to see my family. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I was laid out and not sure if I was going to make it through the day. Yeah. It wasn't, gee whiz, what's my next title going to be? Or what's my, next bill going to be? You're not thinking about any of that. We all are going to walk away from these jobs, and what are you going to look back on? What's the thing you want?
Correct.
Well, first of all, you better want to walk back home to the family you started with and have your integrity intact. And then you can start thinking about, wow, I was able to move the needle on this. I was able to advance what I believe in, 20, 30 more yards on that. And hopefully you can say you did that. There's some people that won't even be able to look back because they spent all their time, just talking and trying to get attention, and they never advanced their own causes. And you don't want to waste your time in life. And so you do realize time is important. Life is important. Make every minute count.
Steve Scalise from Louisiana, the House Majority Leader. Thank you so much for coming on with me, Steve. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Always a pleasure, Glenn, and God bless you too. Thank you.